Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips and I will be your host for the next hour. If you're new to this show, let me introduce it to you. Unlocking Your Truth is all about metaphysics and spirituality. I am a spiritual teacher. I teach people how to meditate and I teach people how to activate and open their intuition. And I will also use my intuition to help people. And that's really what we do on the show. We start out with a discussion topic which lasts for about 20 minutes, and then the remainder of the show, the remaining 40 minutes of the show, is really for you with your questions. In the meantime, I thought what would be a really great topic for us to talk about is this: own your space. And I will explain what I mean by own your space, because I am not necessarily talking about physical space, not necessarily talking about owning your house or your apartment. I'm talking from a spiritual perspective about your personal space. So what I mean by own your space is, so what your space is to me, it's your physical body, and it's also the energy field that surrounds your physical body. So we all have, two legs, two arms, and the rest of our body, don't we? And then there's a subtle energy field that surrounds it, a bit like an egg. And in metaphysical circles, that's sometimes called your aura. But it can be measured by scientific instrumentation. There definitely is an emanation of energy beyond the perimeter of your skin. And so that is your personal space bubble. So everyone in this planet is sort of wandering around in their own personal space bubble. And I'm sure that you have experience of, your personal space and feeling like your personal space is being invaded, or how different people have a different perimeter, a different radius, a different diameter to the size of their personal space bubble. We've done a show in the past on the aura. You might want to look that one up because we talk all about that there. And, even different nationalities and different cultures are comfortable with a different size of bubble around them. So this aura, this energy field, this personal space bubble it demarks your personal creative universe. So if you imagine you have this big egg-shaped field of energy that surrounds your body, where the edge of that is, it sort of demarks the limit of your personal space and your personal creative universe. So everything on the inside of that is you. It's your personal space. This is what I mean by your space. And everything on the other side of it isn't you. It's something else. So your personal space bubble is your private piece of physical reality. It's your, we're all here sharing this glorious planet together, but yet we've all got our own little piece of what could be heaven on earth or the opposite, depending on what we do with it, surrounding us. And your space is meant to be yours, only yours, nobody else's. Okay, so we're all here co-creating on this planet, and we're all here having our individual experiences, but you have your own private universe. Is just for you and your energy. Your body is just for you and your energy, and your energy field surrounding it is just for you and your energy. And that's the same for everyone. we've all got our own piece of it, right? And the funny thing is, if someone else's energy is in your space, it feels icky, and you do not feel like yourself. So that's why we're going to talk today about owning your space. So why should you own your space? So when you own your space completely, you are free to create whatever you want. Like I said, it's your personal playground. It's your private piece of reality, your personal universe. You can have whatever fun you like within that space. It's yours to create whatever you want. So if you keep it clear and if you own it, then you get to create what you want. But if you don't keep it clear and you don't own it, you cannot completely create everything you wish. And the reason is that if you're not owning it, somebody else is. Might be one person, might be many people. And so therefore, your personal space that was meant to only be occupied by you, you were meant to be the god of your own universe, king of your own domain, queen of your own domain. But if you don't own it and somebody else's energy is in there with you, guess what? You're no longer experiencing just your own reality. You're no longer experiencing just what you want, but you're experiencing their reality as well. You're experiencing what they want and what they don't want. And that's why so many of us can get into such trouble, creating our reality here. Because by the time we're adults, it's like, well, hello, mum, hello, dad, siblings, all sorts of other people that have been important to me, and, my partner this lifetime or my partner for right now, they're all in there with you. And they've all got their own ideas about you and what you should create. And so, they've got their expectations of you, their judgments of you. They've got their own stuff going on. And if they're in your space, it's in there with you and your stuff too. So it can get really confusing in there. So what can cause you to lose your space to somebody? What can cause somebody to invade your space? So why does this happen? Why does one person's personal space bubble intersect with another person's space bubble? And and it kind of happens all the time in all human relationships. So to one degree, it's kind of like a normal part of the game here on planet Earth, but it is a sign of spiritual maturity when you learn to own your space, when you learn to be aware of when it's me having this thought, when it's somebody else having this thought, when it's me having this emotion, when it's somebody else having this emotion, when this is my belief that I'm having about myself and the world, or this is somebody else's belief that I'm having about myself or the world. And you can see how that can go, because if you're not aware and you've got all those other emotions, thoughts and beliefs, and they belong to somebody else, you can be convinced, well, if I'm having it, it seems like I'm having it, it must be mine. And guess what? No, it might not be yours. It might not be yours, and it might cause you to make all sorts of decisions and create all sorts of things that are just not you. Just not you. And a great example is, when you see people when they are in a relationship just getting started in a new relationship, they've still relatively got their own space and they're separate individuals. But then if you see a couple that's been together for years and years and years, sometimes they kind of become like each other. They kind of become each other almost. Have you ever seen that? That's an example of what I'm talking about. So what can cause you to lose your space to somebody else? What would ever make you do that? Because it seems like a crazy thing to do, doesn't it? It seems like such a valuable thing to have your own personal creative universe that's yours. Why would you ever give that up? Why would you ever give that away? And so I mean, I guess the answer is sometimes it's about learning. You want to learn how to own your space. You want to learn how to create in this reality. And it's all part of the game to get some seniority over that. But what can cause you to lose your space to somebody are, for example, if somebody else invalidates you and you to start to feel worthless or unworthy. Then when you receive external invalidation, those beliefs of being unworthy can make you vulnerable to that foreign energy. Judgment, criticism, and expectations. So you're not living up to somebody else's expectations of you or of yourself, or you're being judged or criticized all the time by somebody. Well, that can cause you to give away your space, give away your power, give away your energy. Let that person invade you and dominate you. Competition, power struggles, domination. Another game that people like to play on this planet is power struggles and competition. It's really common. I don't think that there's a human being in this world that hasn't had some of that going on. Whether it's on the level of your peers, a group of girls competing over who's the prettiest, or a group of boys competing over who's the strongest, or, whatever else it might be. And it's such a big part on our planet, in the corporate environment where we all go and have jobs. You got a boss who is in the hierarchy, the authority figure, and it's their right to dominate and control the minions beneath them. It's almost like an accepted thing in a way. And it's their right to judge and criticize and invalidate as they wish. And so all of these things, they can cause you to lose your space to somebody else. Also, abuse. If you are on the receiving end of mental or psychological abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, or sexual abuse. Okay, so if you have somebody who's being abusive to you, and whether they're battering you on an emotional level, a mental level, or a physical level, then your body gets afraid and you submit, to the energy of that person. They get to overtake you because of their abusive behavior. If you don't know how to own your space, this is what can happen. And then you can get so invaded by that other person's energy that you just don't know what's going on. And you think you must be wrong. There must be something wrong with you. You must be imagining it, and you can get caught. You can get caught in a trap, kind of your own making. And this is one of the things that people have difficulty understanding. But because if you're being abused, well, okay, you're the victim and the abuser is the one that's at fault. This is what we say. But it's not strictly true from a spiritual perspective, because from a spiritual perspective, you can learn to own your own space. And so on some level, you are always allowing that other person's energy in, and you can change that situation. Whether it's at the level of needing to walk away from a relationship, or just use spiritual and energy management techniques to come on into your body and your personal space bubble and say, mine, not yours. Set some boundaries in some relationships. So, what else could cause you to lose your personal space to somebody else? Fear, pain, denial and facades. Oh no, it's not happening. Oh no, my life's lovely. Oh, my marriage is lovely. My relationship's fantastic. Oh, it's the best one that ever was. And really underneath there's some serious things happening there, that are causing you to lose your space and not be yourself. Defensiveness, resistance. Gosh, if you get in resistance to somebody, it's that phrase, what you resist persists. You're more likely to get invaded by someone if you're feeling in resistance to them or defending yourself against them. Another thing, which is a popular one for all healers out there, all people who want to help other people and their friends and family, and or be a healer out there in the world, sympathy. Wanting to heal somebody else and getting into sympathy with them. Because we need to learn to be neutral when we're helping other people. We can have empathy, but if we get into sympathy, then that can make us vulnerable to our space being invaded. And then the other one is matching life experiences. So it's like, looking in a mirror. And if you're not dealing with your own stuff, those like matching life experiences are like little doorways all over you. Come on in. Anyone that matches this, here's my little doorway. In you come. So there's lots of examples there how you might lose your space to someone. And I wonder if any of you are recognizing yourself in your relationships in this. And it's quite the step to acknowledge that you're giving your space away, especially to your partner, and to start setting some boundaries, especially if you've been together for a long time and there's a sort of a dynamic that's been set up. It can be really, really hard to reverse that dynamic. It can be difficult to change it. But awareness is the first step, folks. Awareness is the first step. And then learning how to own your space. So how can you own your space? Number one, release the foreign energy. Learn how to release the foreign energy. And if you're a regular listener to the show, then you should know grounding, which is a meditation technique that helps you release foreign energy. And so this technique, all you do is you close your eyes, you sit with your back straight and your hands in your lap, and then you create, or you visualize, a flow of energy that goes from near the base of your spine all the way to the center of the earth. And you can release anything down there. So if you've got someone in your face and in your space, release it down your grounding. If you've got some things that are making you vulnerable, like you don't feel worthy, like you feel powerless, release that down your grounding so that you're not vulnerable to the foreign energy. Now, how else can you own your space? Well, you can verbally communicate that you don't like what's going on. If the person's energetically aware, they might get it, but they might not. You can remove yourself from an abusive situation. You can leave somebody who is being abusive, right? Because you always have a choice. You do not have to take that mental, psychological, emotional, physical, or sexual abuse from anybody. So remove yourself from an abusive situation. Heal yourself, right? So all of that big list I gave about what can cause you to lose your space to someone, heal yourself, let it go. And, there are meditation techniques that you can learn how to be neutral and get some seniority over what is going on. And then what's the benefit of owning my space? Like I said before, then you get to create whatever you want. You get to create out of love and joy and enthusiasm instead of fear and pain and powerlessness. You get to access your information, your knowledge. You get to have your energy flowing through your body and your personal space. And that's the ultimate definition of power from a spiritual perspective. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. And in the absence of a phone call, I shall go to some email questions that I have here. And here's one that seems particularly apt, given that tonight's subject was about owning your space. Don says, can I influence the reality of my teenage child? And the answer is yes, invade their space. But of course, I wouldn't advocate that. So, that's, and that's tongue-in-cheek, that's a joke. But the first part of the show, that's what we were talking about, wasn't it? That if you invade somebody else's space, then you influence their reality. Instead of experiencing just their own reality, they will be experiencing your reality too. And this is what a lot of people do in relationships, whether it's a parent-child relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship. If one party disapproves of what the other party's getting up to, or is judging or criticizing them, and, things are getting heated, then the space invasion begins. And, and of course, that never, ever, ever helps. It usually escalates the problem and the situation because, remember I was saying, someone else's energy in your space is not going to feel great. It's going to either overwhelm you or you're just not going to feel like yourself. And one of the best ways to clear someone out of your space can be to get angry. Most people don't know how to run their anger in their own space, so they throw it at each other. And so I'm seeing that would be sort of like a family disaster, Don. But I'll just take a look at... I'm sure you're asking that question because there's obviously some behavior in your teenage child that's troubling you, that you're feeling is either inappropriate or harmful. And so I'll guess that without knowing any more information about it, but I'll take a look at it specifically, energetically, and we'll see what comes up. So I'm looking at Don and Don's teenage child. So here's what I see. I see that you're trying to rein your child in. You are attempting to control your child and your child's behavior because you are judging that it is inappropriate or unconventional or just not the way one should behave. Now, I don't know what it is that your child is doing, but to me, they actually look like they're having fun and exploring the world and enjoying their freedom and learning what life is all about for themselves. And so, I'm seeing really once a child is beyond a certain age, I mean, when they're a toddler, yes, you have to teach them how to be safe in the world. But once they're capable of surviving on their own, which your child is, it's really their life, their energy, their space, their experience. And if it's a whopping big learning experience, so be it. It's not your responsibility anymore, and it's not appropriate for you to try to control it. Of course, if it's something terrible, like a child wanting to take their own life, then there might be different answers. I'm not an expert in that kind of thing, but from what I'm seeing energetically about your particular situation, it just looks like your child has a lot of power, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, and I'm just seeing that it just makes you think that they're going to get into trouble, and you want to control it and you want to damp it down. And I'm seeing right now, it doesn't look to me like they're getting into trouble. It looks like they're just having a blast. Okay, so I had an email question that just came in, so I'm just going to look that one up. And let's see. So this is from Dee, and she says, is my trip to Denmark for a particular conference that I'm going with aligned with divine timing? I suppose she doesn't mind if it's called the Pathways to Peace Conference, and this lady, we're calling her Dee because we don't use people's real names on the air. Is my trip to Denmark for the Pathways to Peace Conference aligned with divine timing? So I'm going to just take a look. I'm just tuning into this lady's energy, and I'm tuning into the idea of this conference in Denmark. Kind of interesting. And I guess let's just interpret divine timing for a moment before I get into doing the reading. So, I guess what I would say the meaning of divine timing is, it's sort of like when you're in the right place at the right time and everything lines up for you and you meet people that you're meant to meet and collaborations are stimulated that are meant to be stimulated and just everything's all lined up. Sometimes we're in a rush to jump ahead of ourselves, but guess what? When we do that, we might turn up early and all the players aren't in place. So I'm taking that to be what Dee means by this. And one of the things that I'm seeing is it looks to me like you're really, how to say this, really wanting to, there's a word that describes this and I can't think of it. So I'm going to use the word control, but there's a better word in this case, and if it comes to me, I'll say it. It's like really just, it's like being the puppet master. Being the puppet master and wanting to coordinate, that's the word, coordinate certain things to happen and certain things to, the right people to come together and so on. And I'm actually seeing that when you do that, in a way, you're not letting go and letting God. You're not going with the flow and trusting the universe. And I would say in this case, to me, going to that conference looks great, but I'd let go of your effort around trying to make it mean something specific or be something specific or specific expectations and ideas that you have of it. And if you just let go and let God, it looks to me like exciting things might occur. They might not be the same ones that you're expecting to, though. But to me, it does look bright, and it does look stimulating, and it does look like there are people there that could be fabulous for you to meet. And it does look like there's all sorts of wonderful projects being hatched and worked on, and the energy looks lovely. It looks wonderful. It looks really bright. But I'm just seeing you'll get the most out of it if you let go of your need to make it fit into any boxes that you have in mind for it. So I hope that helps you. Hope that helps you, Dee. Hope you're listening in. And on to the next question. By the way, folks, if you want to call live on air, today is 604-851-6307 because I'm on my own in the studio. All right. What can we ask next? Let's see. Here is a lady called Jay. She recently broke up with somebody, and she's a bit sad because she thought he was the one, he was it. Is there hope or any insight for my future? Okay, so let's take a look for Jay at this relationship broke up that she's all cut up about. And I'm just taking a look. Well, I'm seeing what this relationship breakup has done for you is help you get your energy back. I'm seeing that, it's causing you to, sort of like contract and, what's the word? Tucker down, reconnect with yourself, shift your focus back onto yourself, and rediscover yourself, find yourself again. And another way of saying is giving you your space back. And that I'm seeing that I am seeing that there's some sadness, and there's a lot of letting go that you are doing in that sort of grieving, mourning process after the loss of the relationship. But I'm seeing if you're able to take a different perspective on it, it looks like it's a very healing process. That if you allow the tears to flow, it's very cleansing, and it's helping you shift your energy, it's helping you raise your vibration, and it's helping you get clearer on who you are and what you want and what you don't want as well. And, clearly this person, well, when we say he was it sort of means, like this romantic idea of this ideal partner that lasts forever and so on. I'm seeing he kind of was it, but not the it that you were thinking he was or wanting. Because everyone that comes into our lives offers us a learning experience, don't they? So, and of course, if you listen to the show a lot, you'll know I won't predict the future for you, but I will look at I will look at you creating something new and different for yourself on the romantic front and see what comes up. Well, I'm seeing you're giving yourself a chance to be reborn, to remake yourself. It's like a do-over. And in the letting go, there is some space opening up within you. And it seems to me that what might be, and this is a suggestion, I'm not giving advice, but what could be a healthy way to go with it is to fill it up with more of you. Fill it up with more of you, and then when more of you is filling in your space, then seek out a new partner, because I'm just seeing that what can happen if you do it before you've really anchored in this new you, that the whole thing that we were talking about at the beginning of the show is more of a vulnerability for you, which is just that other person's energy rushing in and gobbling up the space instead of you doing it. So I hope that helps you, Jay. Now, let's see. I'm looking for another question, and forgive me, I don't have Corey here today, so I'm doing this on my own, so I'm having to sort of look through the list of email questions, and let me see. Here's somebody called S. She says she found my website and she wanted to explore something but not sure what. And she's looking for some guidance on her life direction. She said the way she says it is not sure exactly what, but can say that my life doesn't find the direction I'd always hoped for and I thought it would. Okay, so her life is not going as she had wanted, and she's looking for some guidance and maybe an explanation as to why. So we'll call you S, and we will look at your life direction and your life path. Let's see. Okay. Yes, I'm seeing you kind of looking at your life and going, how the heck did I manage to create that? That's not what I thought I would get. And I'm actually seeing a big... Actually, I'm glad I read your question, because it seems to be a match for the theme tonight, because I'm seeing a big reason for why it's kind of like that. Does have to do with you not owning your space. It looks to me like most of your energy, most of the time, is outside of your body. So you're not owning your space. You're not owning your physical space of your physical body or the energy field surrounding it. And so I'm seeing that means all sorts of other people are in there with you, having a party, and so it's like if your space was clear and your energy was flowing through it, you could, with like pinpoint accuracy, focus your attention and focus your energy on, this is what I want to create. And it would be so much more easy for you to do it. But at the moment, it's like there's so much foreign energy in there. Everything is scattered, everything is dissipated. Your energy isn't even mostly in there. Other people's energy with all the things that they're thinking, doing, wanting are in there. And so I'm seeing that that's why your life is not, it's just not focused. It just looks like it's a bit messy. And it's messy outside because inside it's messy. And the answer for you is the key message of today: own your space. Right, and so, tomorrow go listen. Well, after the show, you can download the podcast, listen to the beginning part again, and learn how to ground. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name's Dr. Lesley Phillips, and we have about 14 minutes left in the show and time for a few more questions. So hello caller.
Hi there, Dr. Lesley.
Hi, who am I talking to?
This is Carol.
Hello, Carol. And what can I do for you this evening? What's your question?
I have a question about my dad, actually.
Mm.
So recently he's gotten really sick, but it's kind of similar to what he had 2 years ago. So I think my question is it something related to like spirituality, and why has it like kind of come back when he thought like he kind of beat this kind of illness, I guess?
Yeah.
And now he's like really depressed and sad again because it came back.
Yeah. Could you tell me more about his illness? What the problem is?
So it's related to nausea. During the day he would just feel nausea, low appetite. He would have to take. He's been to a doctor and seen specialists to find out what exactly is causing it, but no doctor or specialist can find out what's actually causing it. The only thing they can help him with is like antidepressant pills to help him subside the symptoms.
Yeah.
So he thinks like he's not depressed, but it's helping him, the medication. But it also gives him other like side effects, like he's just more tired, less energy, because of taking the medication.
Okay. All right. I'll have a look for you, Carol, and for your dad. So give me a moment. I'm just going to go into trance and tune into his energy.
Okay.
And let's take a look at him. So, okay, so, I'm seeing you could help. Is he open to meditation, Carol?
He might be open to it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever tried because
So
I don't think he's spiritually inclined.
No.
Let's say.
But you can introduce meditation as a non-spiritual activity.
Right.
Does he? Because you know how to ground, don't you?
Yes.
So you could teach him how to ground, and I'll explain why. But what I'm seeing when I look at his energy is he's not grounded, but but I'm seeing that he has some just some stuck energy in his system that if he could find a way to energetically take charge and release it, it might help him. And so what I'm seeing is some repressed anger.
Yes.
And also some pain. And it's the pain I'm seeing around the third chakra area, which is causing the nausea. And so I'll look more deeply into both of those. But definitely some repressed anger, like bottling things up.
Right.
So let's see. Give me a moment. Well, and a kind of when I look into this darker energy, there's a kind of powerlessness about it, and it looks like a list of here's the things that I can't do anything about.
Right.
Here's the things that I'm just powerless to change. The things that are wrong, but I just can't do anything about them. And it just looks like it's to do with his from a spiritual level. It's to do with his third chakra, which is the center that relates to energy distribution, right?
Right.
And he feels powerless. He feels that he doesn't have the energy to change certain things, and he has stored all of that stuff around things I feel powerless to change in that area around the solar plexus. And it's causing an energetic block to the flow of energy in and around, through and around his third chakra. And so to help him would be to start to help him release that powerlessness and repressed anger, and also you just get that third chakra opening up and the energy flowing through it. Oftentimes when we feel nauseous, it's because the third chakra's sort of closed down, and and so and that could just be a visualization of if you tell him to imagine that there's a spinning vortex of energy in his solar plexus, just imagine it, just like and then to him to imagine it opening. Imagine it opening, spinning faster, and the energy flowing through it. That's all he has to do to get that chakra to open up. And then also in teaching him to ground, and so that he can release and let go of this other stuff. And I'll just spend a little bit longer, see if there's anything else that we need to cover. Well, actually, I'll give him a healing now. I'll give him a healing, and I'm just going to help him to ground. And like I said, you can teach him, and then he can do it himself.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any information yet about the depression, but I think the depression is tied up with the powerlessness, because that list of things that I can't do anything about, they're all in the past. And you know what?
Yes.
If we spend too much time dwelling on the past, we get depressed, because the body is in present time. The body cannot go into the past and change it. Yeah. And so, but a lot of people, that's what they do. They churn over the past, and then that means the spiritual entity, is going into the past, leaving their body, to feel abandoned and depressed because it can't do anything. It's like, what do you want me to do? I can't do anything. I'm here in the present.
Right.
And so another tip that would help him would be about, the power of now, and being able to be in the present moment, and if he's not open to spiritual ideas, just that idea of meditation and mindfulness practices where you really feel yourself inside your body. And when you do something, you really focus on being there while you're doing it, whether it's while you're eating or while you're walking. Those are all things that can help him come into present time and be in a present time relationship with his body. And there's some other stuff coming up around his head, and that has to do with his thoughts. And I'm seeing that he's got it's like a cloud of dark thoughts. And they and again, they're thoughts of powerlessness, and thoughts, just thoughts of the terrible things that there are in the world, or the terrible ways that things can be, this kind of thing. So I'm just giving him a hand, bringing some of that into present time. And but I think the biggest idea is that he feels powerless to change anything. You just...
So what triggered it again? Because he had this 2 years ago, and then it seems like he was fine for the last 2 years, and then it just came back. Did something trigger it?
How long ago did it start again?
Just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it does look like it's interesting because if I look at his timeline, things look bright up until that point, and then all of a sudden it sort of stops. It actually is like a sudden dip in energy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just fish a little bit. Were there any events that you know of that happened around that time?
Well, it happened right after we had dinner together, actually. I'm not sure, but I asked him what he did, and he doesn't know. Like, everything seemed fine, ordinary, from what he tells me.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he's thinking or... during that time.
Okay, well, let me look energetically and see if I can see that there was a shift, and it's actually quite a profound shift, and I'm just going to continue giving him a healing. I'm not sure whether he's got, like we were talking at the beginning of the show, whether he's actually got some foreign energy in his space as well. Because his energy field looks quite bright before this happened. And then it just takes this darkness on.
Yes.
There's no one in his life that you know who is depressed other than him.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm not seeing clearly what triggered it, Carol.
Okay.
But like I said, I am seeing a few things that you can try that you can tell him about that might help him.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't know what stimulated it, but it is. It looks like it just was an instant thing. I mean, to me, it almost looks like sometimes it reminds me of. It's almost like the difference between operating as spirit versus operating as a body. That something kind of disconnected him from his body and stopped him being as present. So maybe there's something that is something that triggered him, but I'm not seeing what it is, I'm afraid.
Okay.
All right. Well,
okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's great.
Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Yeah, good luck with your dad.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, that was Carol, and that really brings us to the end of the show. I know I'd started reading out another question about the lady and the falling in love, and we'll have to save that for next time. But I hope you've enjoyed listening to the show, and we're going to be playing the news in a moment. And I just noticed, I don't know if anyone who was hoping to catch Ragnarok is listening to my show as well, but I did notice that Ragnarok didn't come on before my show, and so it's actually lined up to come on next, and the show is in 3 parts, and 2 of the parts are up, folks. So if you were looking forward to Ragnarok, stay tuned. I'm going to try and get the other one to come back up, the beginning part of it, and if I don't manage it, you'll just get part of it. So up next is going to be, hopefully, you will get to...
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com, where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.